Girl, stop playing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playing podcast. I'm your host, Coriel, and y'all already know that I am here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. I truly, truly believe that you can make the money and you can get the honey. You can have it all if you are willing to work for it. And today, joining us in the studio is someone who is really working for it. She is proof that you really can have it all. Welcome, Sonya Richrds-Ross.
Thank you, Coriel. I'm so excited to be here.
Listen, this is going to be such a good conversation.
Sure.
I'm so honored to meet you.
Thank you.
You know, some people might be late to the party. They might be finding out about you now because
Right.
of your new ventures.
Right.
But here at the Girl Stop Playing podcast, we are very familiar, but we want to put some respect on your name for the
Thank
people
you.
who may not be familiar. So give yourself a proper introduction.
Sure. So I am Sonya Richrds-Ross. I am a 4-time Olympic gold medalist in track and field. I am a wife. I'm a mother, an entrepreneur. I am still a Nike brand ambassador, and I also work with NBC as a sports analyst. And I mentioned I'm an entrepreneur, so I have an organization called Mommi Nation that I'm very passionate about. And the newest peach on the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Come on, newest peach. So let's start there. I want to start there and then kind of work backwards because my biggest question is what made you say, okay, this is the next opportunity, like the next thing that I want to try out?
So I think for me, I'm a girl who believes you say yes to life. And so when the opportunity first presented itself, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had done reality TV before. I did my own family show, and I always said, you know, for the right, like I really enjoyed the experience, and I would leave the door open.
Okay.
So if the opportunity came back around. Never did I ever think it was going to be on the Real Housewives of Atlanta for many reasons. One, I did not live in Atlanta. But, you know, I was like, wow, like, you know, so I'm that girl. I'm like, I'll try it. Like, I like doing things. Like, I feel like my heart's beating out of my chest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, how will this stretch me and stuff? And to be very honest, like, I feel like I really admire the franchises. I love how they allow so many different women and different races of women to be displayed on television. And I think that the women on the show are really great entrepreneurs and business women. So, you know, I thought this would be a great opportunity, crossover for me to meet, you know, and be exposed to new people. And I think it is what you make it, right?
Yes.
Like the opportunity is what you make it. So I was excited to join the cast.
So you weren't even a little nervous?
Oh,
You were a little
absolutely.
nervous. So, okay, so
absolutely.
tell me about that. What were
Yeah.
you nervous about?
I mean, I definitely had some reservations. One, I think that, you know, I think obviously the show is, you know, sometimes seen in a positive light, sometimes seen in a negative light. So I definitely am aware of that. I know that people say there's a relationship curse on reality TV. But, you know, I feel like I built a very strong foundation with my very fine husband.
Come on, foundation.
And so I felt really confident about that. And then obviously to join a group of women who it's 14 years that they've been on this show. Many of them have been on for 10 plus years. They already have established relationships. It's like, how do you come in, be fully authentically you, trying to build relationships? So, I had a lot of nerves and I was very thoughtful about it. But like I said, I like trying new things. You know, I loved being the first. I'm the first Olympian, first Jamaican on the cast. So yeah, you know, I kind of just jump and I just let, you know, see where I land.
I love it. And it's been fun watching you.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody that you were like surprised by their personality versus like your perception of what
That's
you
a
thought
great
they would
question. That's a great question. No one's asked me that yet. I actually was. So obviously I had watched the show for years and knew many of the ladies. One of the things I remember Claudia Jordan, who's one of my girlfriends who did Housewives in the past, I talked to her and she said, the main advice I'd give you is one, be yourself. Do not try to force a moment and forget everything you think you know about the ladies. Just go in and really get to know them. So I think I was most pleasantly surprised initially by Kenya. Because I thought that she was gonna be like, you know, but she's not. She definitely has a very sweet side. I like to call her my little sour patch, you know, because she can be sweet and sour. But definitely, I would say Kenya was probably the person who I was most surprised that she actually was really warm to me in the beginning, and we have our little moments. But you know, for the most part, she's a great girl.
And sometimes I feel like, you know, they be trying the new girl to kind of see like testing you out, but I know you're going to hold your own. I already know you're going to hold your own. I do appreciate, though, your transparency. So we're going to get into the mommy talk.
Sure.
We're going to get into the wife talk. But I don't know if it was episode 1 or episode 2, but one of the first episodes, you were talking about the strain that having your child put on your relationship. We got to get into it because
Yeah.
I don't think people talk about it enough.
Agreed.
So when you go through it, you're like, what the heck? Like, this is not what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
This is supposed to be the biggest blessing, right? My blessing shouldn't feel like a burden.
Right.
So I want you to share for people who need to go back and watch it. But for people who haven't seen it, can you just talk about what that was like?
Yeah.
How it ended up like putting a wedge or causing some challenges in your relationship?
Yeah, another great question. So my husband and I had been together for 14 years before we had a kid. 14 years of establishing our relationship, working together as a twosome, as two people. And we had, I know it's crazy to say, but we had like a fairy tale relationship. It was like we were on honeymoon for like 14 years, And so both of us obviously wanted to have a kid. This was completely planned. We were completely prepared. I felt like I was prepared emotionally, spiritually, all the things we added on to our home, like physically prepared for this. But when I tell you that it was like a tornado landed in our marriage, and like you said, most people don't tell you that. Like you feel like, oh, it's going to be just amazing. We're going to be the best parents. And and Ross and I really struggled. The first year of us being parents was not easy. I think what made our relationship, but I know what makes our relationship so special is the way we communicate. And we just weren't able to communicate what we needed from each other in an effective way.
Right.
And I think what happens, what I have learned from my experience is that everything else is like cool, but when you're talking about someone as a parent, it's like no matter what you say, all they hear is I'm a bad dad, I'm a bad mom, and it's a hard
taking
thing.
it personal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for the first time, we really struggled because what I thought he would be as a father or what I thought he'd be as a partner for me, he wasn't doing that, and I think there was some, he probably felt the same way, and he kept saying we're gonna be in the trenches together, and I was like, where you at, bro? Where are you at? I feel like I'm in this trench by myself. And I had wanted to get a full-time nanny. He didn't want that. So there's a lot of things that we were having to navigate through. Also, on top of that, we had just retired. And we didn't think about what that also meant to us as just human beings in our relationship. It's really tough to transition out of doing something that you've done for 20 plus years and now it's just gone. There's a state of depression and a feeling of, like, who am I? Like all of these things. So this was all happening all at the same time. So it put a big, big, big strain on our marriage. It was the toughest part in our relationship for sure. And you'll see me navigating through the show, like really like, do I want to go through this again? Are we better equipped this time? And we have some really tough conversation, a lot of tears, but it's a real thing for us, as we're trying to figure out like, what do we do now?
I can't lie, Sonya. Seeing y'all have that conversation, I was like, this is big for both of y'all because for you to tell your truth and that, like you said, you're going to take it personal. Like you trying to make me look like I was a bad dad. That could be a thought, but your transparency is what causes transformation for other people who are looking at this and are like, well, damn, it wasn't just me. Okay, baby, let's figure this out because it's not just us. Like this is the experience. So can you pinpoint like what your resolution was in that? Like, was it you figuring out how to communicate? Because I think a big part of it, girl, she trying to clean up the set. Girl, go on and clean it up now. Go on and clean it up.
I'm messing up your
set.
No,
you're okay. I think part of why you can't communicate what you need is because you don't know what you need. Like
it changes, it evolves.
Everything changes, and like you said, you could be as prepared as you think. Like you can take all the classes, you can have the village, you can have all of the things, and it's not enough.
Right,
it's not enough. So, what was that thing, or the communication, or that point where you were able to kind of work through it?
Yeah, so it took us some time, and I think ultimately for us, we kind of went back to the thing that I feel has made our marriage so strong is we just finally were able to have a conversation or conversations that led us to a place where I felt like he was really able to hear me and I was able to hear him and we were able to get on the same page. And so I think it was about that real raw conversation. Like, I remember, like a lot of tears, a lot of emotions, and me making it clear to him, like, this is like, I think you're the perfect father for Deuce. There's no doubt about that. What I'm asking you for is to continue being the best partner for me, right? And the things that I'm telling you I need, although they seem trivial to you and they seem like, oh, like, I might be saying, hey, like, I want you to stay up with me at nights. Like when I'm up, like I know you're not breastfeeding him. I know you're not nursing him, but it's just nice to look over and you're up.
And
exactly. I don't want you to be like, so I can't find you, right? Like I didn't want this journey to feel like I was a single parent. I want to feel like we're in this together. And although what Deuce needs right now is more from me, I need you.
Yep.
And so, it's just having those tough conversations and like until he was like, okay, like you're not saying that I'm not a great father, because I never, my husband is, and even now, like, girl, he is the best dad. He's an amazing father, but it was what I needed, not what Deuce needed at that time. So yeah, I think it was just for us breaking it down, getting raw, getting past the hurt and whatever we were feeling, and then getting back to that, you know, deep connection and love that we had.
I think what you said about like the honeymoon, you know, being able to get up and rip and run and do all of the things, it really is like nothing is the same anymore once this baby, like nothing's the same. So you going through that personally, but then trying to go through it with somebody else and still trying to stay together and love each other and be happy, I think is definitely a challenge, but you can obviously get through it.
You can get through it.
Can you get to it though? So are y'all thinking about having number 2?
You'll see on the show. I can't. Listen, this is, you got to watch. Like,
she said we ain't getting no exclusives up in here,
No exclusives yet. When we get closer, but the thing that I appreciate you even saying to Coriel is, like, when the thing I loved about Housewives is that they never, and I kept telling my husband when he was nervous about, like, are they going to want you? I said, look, like, I'm very transparent on my social media. People know what I give. So if they're coming to me, they want what we give. Right. And through the process, there was never any hint of like, you got to do this or do that. And they were like, what are y'all really going through right now? And we told them, it's like, we're really struggling about having a second child. And they really leaned into our story. So I love it because it's a real thing we're going through. You're going to see us, you know, talking through it. And the roller coaster it's real through the show. So yeah, you got to watch it to see.
So speaking of roller coasters, I'm telling you, so many things I was like, girl, because Deucey was cutting up at that little tea party.
Girl, and they didn't even show the whole thing, girl.
I can imagine what they chopped and screwed up out of there. Because and the whole time you like, Deucey, sit down. They kept cutting. We gonna go home. Everybody else acting right, and he like, I don't want to. So
when he said that, did you almost fall out your chair?
Listen, let me tell you why I almost fell out of my chair. Because I got a little future Deucey running around.
How old's yours?
He just turned 1.
Okay.
And he's acting 2.
Okay.
He's acting real 2-ish.
That sounds about right.
And I'm scared. I'm nervous all the time. Like, don't embarrass me. Seriously, like, oh, no, I can't come. Everybody like, bring it back. He's going to embarrass me.
Exactly.
We're not at that stage yet where I can reason with him. You know, he's going to embarrass me. How do you deal with this? Because you dealt with it on camera.
Yeah.
So if he cut up on camera, I feel like this is a thing. So
this is the Deuce.
Give me some advice.
I can't help you.
You just be embarrassed out here?
No, so the thing about it is, and it's so funny, I feel like, I wrote a blog about this on Mommi Nation, right? The mom I thought I would be versus the mom I am, right? Like, and especially the auntie and godmother I was like the strictest. Like, I was like, my son gonna be like, live, like, you know, very militant.
And he's like, no.
And this kid, I guess God said, ha, that's what you thought was gonna happen? So the best advice I could give you, and I would give any mom, is I realize now that this too shall pass. They go through different phases, right? And you got to give yourself grace as a mom. Like, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to struggle. There are going to be times where he's going to embarrass you. But what I think is, like, you have to realize you're always raising him, and he's always learning. So in every moment, I think you're the adult, you just kind of got to breathe, and you got to try to speak on their level, right? Even at 1 or 2, you're telling them, hey, baby, this is not a crisis. Everything is okay. Mommy loves you. What do you need? How can I support you? But, you know, there's no perfect way. And it's like, you just do the best that you can in that moment. And I realize now, I used to be very judgy of moms. Like, I would see kids laid out on the floor and I'd be like, ooh, what kind of... I'll never forget when I became that mom. I'm in the airport, my son was going crazy and he laid out on the floor and I said, just step over him, y'all. Like, he's happy, he's quiet.
Stop. It makes you stop judging people.
Oh, I don't judge nobody anymore.
Girl, whatever you got to do.
I'll be like, I'll dust his hair off and bathe him when he gets home, okay? But you're going to be fine. This too shall pass.
I'm just going to be embarrassed.
That's it.
I'm just going to be embarrassed. He cute, y'all.
Yeah,
he cute.
Yes,
so that he gets away with, just step over. But family is such a huge thing for you. Yes. I love. Like, your parents are so cool.
Thank you.
They're so cool.
Thank you.
How the hell y'all live with 8 people under one roof? Because they can't be that cool. Or are they? Are they that cool?
They are. Okay, so let's talk about this, right? So it's 9 of us in this house here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Well, 8 other people. You're right. I make 9.
Gotcha,
I make 9.
Okay,
yeah. So there are 8 other people. So this is what happened was, we lived in Texas and we had 3 homes about 5 minutes apart. So we were always together. So when COVID happened, we were still living in Austin and we were always at my mom's house. And so when I actually came to Atlanta first, I was doing a show with Will Packer called Central Lab. That's what brought me to Atlanta.
Okay.
And when I was here, I was like, oh my God, I love this place. Like, I could see us moving here. And so we hadn't decided if we were going to move or not yet. And then the Housewives things, conversations about that. And I was like, okay, this is a sign. We should maybe move, all this stuff. So when I was making the plans to move, I said to my mom, because my sister was also thinking about moving to Dallas. And my mom always said if we left Austin, she was going to go back to Florida. That's where her sister and brothers are, and like most of her friends. So I said, well, guys, before you guys move and we split up the gang, how about y'all try Atlanta? I think it's a beautiful city. My sister wanted more diversity. That's why she didn't move to Dallas. I said, Atlanta offers that. And my mom and dad are just like crazy. So I was like, y'all just need us.
Yeah.
So, so I say I was crazy for asking, but they were even crazier for doing it. And so we decided, they said they would come. I said, let's get a big enough house. We'll live in, instead of us buying 3 houses, y'all don't know if y'all want to move here yet. We'll get one big house. We had practice during COVID. We're always together. And then, we can decide in a year or 2 if you guys want to stay. So ironically, it happened the same time that, I'm now filming this show. We have not lived together since I was in high school. And so it brings really interesting dynamics for the show as well, because some days we're perfect and some days we want to kill each other.
Some days it's a patty problem.
Some days we have patty problems.
I got a patois problem. Do we have time, Sonya? Come on. Give me a lesson, y'all.
You need some lessons in patois. All right, so let's okay. We don't have enough time, number one, for me to get you completely right.
It's the me's and the fees I don't understand. The me's and the fee.
Me, not me, me. I gotta tell you something, so it's me. It's like me. It's never me. It's always me.
I'm sorry, that sounds like the same exact thing.
Does it?
Yeah.
It's like, think of it like M-I, like me.
Versus
me.
Me.
Yes.
Okay.
Me not gonna tell you again.
Me not gonna tell you again.
Me not gonna tell you again.
I gotta do like that too.
And when you talk Jamaican, you gotta.
Me not gonna tell you again.
You gotta put some stink on it. Me not gonna tell you again.
Me not gonna tell you again.
Almost. We'll keep.
Okay, we'll keep. Next week I'm gonna have a whole
thing turn up.
Have it ready for you. The Jamaican influence though.
Yeah.
How do there's these I guess it's a stereotype, but I feel like stereotype is such a negative connotation.
Right.
But there's a stereotype like having African parents. What's the stereotype for Jamaican parents?
Oh, that's a good question too. Well, I mean, one of the stereotypes about Jamaicans is that we got a lot of jobs, so I fit that stereotype. But Jamaican parents, I don't know. I think Jamaican parents are very traditional. Like growing up, I remember like I do it for my husband. Mom would cook for my husband. Well, I don't cook, but bring him his plate and kind of like that. Kind of like Jamaican women. I hate putting out like you say, stereotypes, and because I feel like it's also based on your family, your upbringing. But I think Jamaican women are, more, submissive. Like my grandmother, I remember my grandfather worked, and she had 6 kids. She of course, she worked too, but I don't know if there's anything that I would say as a culture. I think what Jamaican culture is rich in is obviously, great food, great music, great vibes. Like, that's what we're really known for. I know with, you think of African and Chinese parents as like, really education, real strict. I wouldn't say that that's like across the board the same way for Jamaican parents. I think it's probably based on households.
Gotcha.
So I don't want no Jamaicans that come for me.
Right.
So I'm going to just leave it at that. Me don't want no Jamaicans that come for me.
Me no want no Jamaican not come from me.
Exactly.
By the end of this show,
by the end of the show, you're gonna be full Jamaican.
So I'm gonna be full Jamaican. Y'all heard that? Jamaican.
Yes.
You hyphenated your last name.
Yes.
Did Ross have a problem with that, or was it even a conversation?
You asking? I done did 755,000 interviews, and you done asked me 2 or 3 questions I ain't never had. Like that's another good one. You trying to get me in trouble here, but yes. Ross did have a problem with that.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, he did. He was not happy. He was like, no, like you get married, you lose your last name. And all of my family has. Like my mom is Richards, like nobody else has. And, I was still competing at the time when I got married. And I'm like, babe, like everybody knows me as Sanya Richards. Like it would be crazy in my mind to just lose my last name. Like I've built a huge reputation in the sport with my last name. And yeah, it was one of those things that a lot of communication, a lot of great sex.
That's the key, huh?
That's the key. And he came around, I think ultimately I kept saying to him, I'm like, it doesn't matter about our last name. It's all about our love. Like I could point to a lot of people who changed their last name and they're still not married. They're not as committed as I am to you. And I think, ultimately he agreed, he was like, I believe that you have established a lot with your name. And if you want to keep it, then, he wasn't thrilled, but he was okay with it. We made it work.
So you mentioned not cooking. My husband is tuned in, baby. You heard that, right? How do you get away with this? What are you doing? What are you doing?
You move your mama in and she cook. No.
That's the key.
That's the key.
No, I would rather cook. We will figure that.
Move your mama in. That's funny. Okay.
Girl.
No, that's not the key.
We ain't like y'all. Y'all, no. My mama can't come. She can't come. She don't watch the show, so she'll never know I said that.
Yeah. She need to tune in. My mama's watching. But so I always say I was like, when my mom was in the kitchen cooking, I was running. So I didn't really get,
Okay.
I didn't get as much as I should have in the kitchen. And I'm really hit or miss when it comes, like sometimes it'd be like popping. Other days it's like he just eating to survive. So my mom is a great cook and she's happy to come in and cook for us. But I mean, my sister says this all the time. I have a great husband. I really do. Like he doesn't have like all of these expectations, like he's not overly traditional. I mean, obviously he would like for me to be the lead parent and, do certain things, but like not lead parent, but like be the kind of mom, all that stuff. But he lets me be me. He knows cooking is not my ministry. And so I make sure we have food.
Right, we gonna eat.
We gonna eat, whether it's I buy food or I cook once or twice a week or we order out or my mom cooks, we gonna eat. But yeah, it's just not, God didn't wire me like that.
Like that, yeah. And you got wired very well. So
Thank
your
you.
wires are working.
Thank you.
When it comes though to like the transitions that you've been through in your relationship, because to be together with someone for that long, think about like you yourself has changed and evolved so much.
Oh yes.
How have you been able, and you mentioned you built that solid foundation.
Yeah.
What did it take to build that? Because how have you been able to evolve and not outgrow one another?
Such good stuff. I mean, I think the main thing in relationships, people say that you have to be evenly yoked. But people think that means like y'all got to be bringing the same amount of money and that's not the case. It's about at every point in your journey, checking in and being sure that you guys are still on the same path towards where you want to go. And so for me and my husband, that's looked like different things at different times. And I think especially in our society and in the way that Black men view themselves or are told to be, sometimes that can be challenging when seasons change, right? But I think what makes my husband so amazing is that we are a team. We are a team. And sometimes he LeBron, sometimes I'm Steph Curry. And he gonna pass me the ball when he needs to, and I'm gonna pass him the ball when he needs to. And so I think that's the most important thing. My husband is always like, we're a team, So if you're up front right now, like I'm willing to, take care of Deuce and do whatever, and vice versa. When my husband is doing his thing, I don't mind playing in the back. And so I think that for us, it's always been about like, like I support him in everything that he's doing. I love on him, I pull him along, and he does the same thing. He loves on me, supports me, pulls me along, and we just communicate. We communicate, baby. How are you feeling? What do you need? How can I be there for you? How can I support you? I'll drop what I'm doing if I feel like, he needs me, right? Like nothing is more important than our relationship. So even if I'm killing it, it's like, it doesn't matter if my husband is depressed or if he feels like he's not being loved on. Like those things don't matter because I want all this with him. So, I think it's very important that you really check in with your partner, like understand where they are as a human being right now. What do they need? And then try to provide those things for them. And obviously you can't do everything. You got to have God in the middle of your marriage. Like if he's not there, if that person is not connected to God, that's also, a recipe for disaster. But I think we just, we're always checking in at every stage. I feel like we've been, as close to equally yoked as we could be.
Okay. So your husband is also an athlete.
Yes.
When he retired, was that a tough transition? I mean, because we've all heard like that is a struggle, coming out. Right. So I'm sure it was a struggle for him just to deal with personally. But did it put a strain on your relationship at all?
Yeah, it absolutely did. Absolutely did. My husband retired the year before I retired. He retired in 2015. I think for me, when I retired in 2016, obviously I had just seen him go through it. But prior to that, I kind of, my dad had always told me when I was a kid, never to be one-dimensional. He was like, I don't care how fast you are, like you got to get a 4.0 GPA. Like I maintained a 4.0 GPA in high school, 3.5 in college. I ain't finished, but anyway.
You maintain that.
Exactly. And I always kind of saw myself as more than an athlete. And my husband didn't have the same foundation, right? Like his dad wasn't in his life. He had a stepfather. And so I feel like for him, he was so focused on football for so long that when he lost that, he lost a piece of himself. And no matter what you try to do for somebody, that's their journey to be on. And so, and I think I was also very fortunate because when I retired from sports, I immediately started working with NBC. So I was still a part of my sport in this new, unique way. When Ross ended his career, and also too, track and field is kind of on you, right? Like I retired because I wanted to. My husband still had more years in him, but he had a tough injury. He had a hamstring injury first, and he tore his Achilles. And even though he felt like he had more to give, it's not on him.
Right.
The team got to want you. And so there's also that, right? There's also dealing with that. I don't want to say
rejection, but the feeling of rejection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was a different experience for him. And it's looking back now, he didn't notice it. I knew he was in depression. It's hard to tell the person you love the most, like that you see that on them. But it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years later when he kind of started to come out of it that he was like, damn, like I was really in a low place, you know? And my husband has the best laugh and he's like always this joyous person. And that was kind of, that wasn't his day to day. And so yeah, it was very tough. But I think because I was going through it too now on the same level, I was able to support him and love on him. And, he started a chauffeur service in Austin. And I think that helped him a lot because he started building this team again. And it was very successful. It's, thank God, rebounded again now since COVID. But, he was able to pour himself into that. But it definitely wasn't the same as playing the NFL, being on the field, being in New York. Like that's a whole different life.
I just thought of something. So you mentioned COVID. Yeah. Everybody was affected by COVID.
Yeah.
I never thought about the way the athletes were affected by COVID. Because if no sports are going on, obviously, well, I don't know if y'all are still getting paid, but how did COVID affect your household, I'll say? Because the chauffeur business, ain't nobody going nowhere. Outside is closed. Nobody needs a chauffeur. So how were y'all able to survive that? And did that cause any turmoil?
I wouldn't say COVID necessarily caused us turmoil, but we definitely have to adjust a lot. My husband, obviously, when you play in the NFL, he's played for 9 seasons. He's fine, right? And then there's also still monies that come in from that. The chauffeur service was hit dramatically, and for us, we weren't sure. Like, do we hang on to this business because obviously we were in the black. He was making great money. Then you're like, okay, you keep sizing down. Obviously, none of us knew when this thing was going to end, what to do. And so, at one point we started to be in the red, like we're paying people to stay on board and there's no money coming in. And so I remember talking to him about it and I was like, baby, I think if we can hold on just long enough, I think that there are going to be a bunch of businesses that do go out of business and you'll be one of
be alive.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank God we held on and it has completely rebounded again and he's doing very, very well. For me, I was very fortunate. So I wasn't competing anymore when COVID happened. I was working with NBC and doing a lot, I work with Nike. My Nike's an incredible partner. They weren't going anywhere. They stayed on board. And a lot of the things that I was doing just kind of went virtual. I do speaking engagements, so I'm doing stuff for brands. So it didn't hit me as much. I definitely didn't make as much money as I was making in previous years, but I was still able to really kind of flex with the times and stay. So it definitely didn't impact our marriage. Like we were cool. It was obviously we had to figure out what we're going to do with Deuce and all that kind of stuff like everybody else in the world. But no, I wouldn't say it had a huge impact on us, on our relationship.
Got you. Okay. I want to talk about Mommi Nation.
Yes.
Because again, so many important conversations around becoming a mother that I think we're just not having. I mean, I learned so much being pregnant that I was like, how come nobody told me this?
Right.
Like, why did I have to wait until I was literally pregnant? And I'm like, it ain't no turning back now. I didn't find out all this stuff. Maybe that's why y'all didn't tell me until it was too late.
Exactly.
But no, we gonna tell y'all. We gonna tell the people because it's. I feel like if y'all knew, that's how you end teen pregnancy. Like, just tell people the real.
Tell people the truth.
Tell the real. Tell the real. So tell me the motivation behind Mommi Nation.
So Mommi Nation was founded and birthed out of the exact same thing you're talking about. I was pregnant. I was excited about being pregnant, and then, became a mom. And my sister had become a mom 6 months before me. And obviously, my mom's a mom. And I felt like I had this great village around me. However, I was still going through things that I felt like none of them were feeling the same way I was feeling. And I felt like when I was an athlete and when I was at my best, when I was able to stand on top of the podium, it was because I had people around me who poured into me, who loved on me. I had this community. And so I was like, where is the tribe? Like, where is the village? Do I call them? Like, are they on the internet? Like, where are they at? And I looked out into the zeitgeist and there wasn't anything that I thought was perfect for me, like as a Black mom. And, going through all these things, I said I wanted to create this community for Black moms specifically to feel supported, seen, loved, and heard. So that's how Mommi Nation was founded. I started with 25 mom bloggers who just shared their experiences online. And very quickly, one of my best friends that I've actually formed out of Mommi Nation, Michael, and I now co-own the company. And our goal is to create the largest resource for Black moms through our blog platform. We do really dope challenges. We go on trips and just really supporting Black moms in a way that I feel like no other platform does. And it was kind of perfect because it kind of happened right before the social injustice issues, all those things. And I was even more acutely aware of, like, we're having a unique experience as Black moms. Very. Like, I don't want to have to be in a space where I got to explain to you why I'm afraid for my son to be in this situation, or why I feel the way I do when I watch the news, or why I got to figure out how I'm gonna do my hair for an interview. Like, we know all of that. Like, we're gonna get past that and talk about these issues. So yeah, it's just kind of my passion project. It's the joy of my life to be able to connect moms and support them. We did an event the other day here in Atlanta, one of our first in-person events with the Ansley School, which is a school that specifically provides a private school education to homeless kids. And it's incredible. Wow. If you're in Atlanta, you know somebody who needs this resource. It's called the Ansley School. And we were able to connect with their moms, about 25 moms. And girl, when I tell you, like,
invite me to the next one. Was it like a community service project?
Well, this was our first time doing an in-person project. So like I said, Mommi Nation has grown far beyond my wildest dreams. Like, I thought it was going to be a blog resource, right? We're going to create, like, I want women, write your stories. Like you say, you don't know about this stuff till it's too late. Tell your story, write it down so another mom may not go through that same thing. That's where we started. Then we did these challenges that have grown tremendously. Nike full-time supports and sponsors that. We've done a retreat with moms. And now our goal, we started our 501c3. We have a community. It's called Mommi Nation Gives. And this is our first initiative to, like, go and, like, how can we connect with Black moms who are really suffering in our communities? Yeah. These women we have one mom who has 10 children, 9 living, and they were in a homeless shelter. And now this Ansley School has provided her a resource for her children to get a private school education for free.
That's amazing.
So, just
I can't believe I never
things.
Heard of that.
Yeah, I had never heard of it either. And so for me, I'm like, hey, I want to scream this from the mountaintops, because obviously homelessness affects minorities.
And in Atlanta, it's crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, just trying to do great things in the space and really help Black moms in every way that I can.
Yes, so we know all the scary statistics when it comes to, being a Black woman, period, and stepping foot into a hospital, period. But trying to do it to bring a life into this world, it's even more dangerous and scary. Yeah. But May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so I want to talk about postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety. Yeah. Your take, your experience, your tips, your strategy, anything.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of resources. So the best thing is we started working with the university there in New York. The name of the university slips my mind, but we have some incredible scholars who have been writing for us now and provide resources. And they're doing some stuff for us specifically around mental health for this month. So we'll have even more resources on our platform to help moms. But it's real. Postpartum depression and anxiety, all those things are very real. And I think that there are so many ways that, one, connecting obviously with other moms, but obviously there are other resources out there for women to be able to talk to psychologists or people to really help them to navigate what they're feeling, to be able to be the best moms to their children that they could be. But, I would say ultimately, the best advice I could give is, and God willing, women have resources around them and villages where they can get help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take a couple of days away from your children to be able to pour into yourself. I think a lot of times what I see when we're in community is that moms get so lost in their motherhood journey that they lose themselves and they don't have the joy, they don't have that excitement for life to be able to even give to their kids. And I think it's okay for us to recharge as mothers, to take some time, to step away and fill your cup so you can pour into your children. But, mental health is, important for everybody. We've been seeing that on every level in athletes, but specifically for moms, I think it's even more crucial. So, log on to the site, check out the resources we have, and just, like I said, do what you need to do as a mother to be able to show up wholly in the experience.
And I think I love that. I think part of it though is what we think. I literally just put up a video on my Instagram about like what I thought postpartum depression was. Like I had seen it on TV. I literally think it was like Law and Order SVU. Right. Like seriously, that was what I thought postpartum was. Right. That's not me.
It's not it. Yeah.
That's not me. Right. I don't ever have to worry about that because why would that be my experience? Right. And even though what I saw on TV was not my experience, there were sprinkle, you know, like I think everybody has something.
Yes, for sure.
Even the anxiety.
Even
like
the anxiety.
bringing home this little being that is your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Are you still breathing? Like the anxiety that comes along with it can send you, you know, into a spiral.
Yeah.
So having those resources and having community, I think is so important.
Yeah.
And then being willing to ask for help, like you said, because we can expect, you know, like people like me who thought they was like number one TT.
Yeah.
Like, girl, I got this.
Me too.
I've been a TT my whole life. Like, I got this. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. And I didn't even know that I, you know, like, I don't even know that I don't got it. I ain't got it so much. Yeah. And especially when you're like a high performing woman or a woman that's used to having it or used to being able to figure things out. This is one of those things. It don't matter what your degrees are in. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. This is such a new transformation that you just can't be prepared for it. So what you're doing with Mommi Nation is just so critical. Please let them know where they can find out more information about it.
Yeah, so you can definitely go to our website. It's Mommi, MOMMI, nation.com. Our Instagram, we're strong, 41,000 women follow us. It's up on the screen. You guys can check it out there, or Mommi Nation on Instagram. And just stay connected with us. We also have a Facebook group. We also just launched our Mombassador program. And this is a $14.99 a month subscription where you get more connected deeply with our community. So you're the first to know what we have going on. We have monthly meetups. We had Ronnie Brown on last month. Oh my God. She was amazing. Ronnie Brown, she's an expert. She has a book called From Mopping Floors to Making Millions on Instagram. And what I love about exposing our mommies to women like that is, maybe you're not trying to be an Instagram influencer, but there is something that you want to do. And she talked about discipline, all of those things. This month we have Monietta Shaw Carter coming on. She's a friend of the show, also on RHOA Housewives, and she obviously is navigating being a step parent with Neo, who she has two kids with. So a lot of our moms in our community are single moms who are in a relationship now. And it's like, how do you make sure that you're having a healthy co-parenting situation? So you get those things if you're a part of our Mombassador programs. Really cool discounts. We have brands that will give us stuff that we first give to our Mombassador. So, obviously most of our resources are free, but we want to connect even more deeply with you. And so for $14.99 a month, you get to be a part of kind of that exclusive community on Mommi Nation.
I love it. Okay, I got one last question though, Sonya.
Yes, tell me the question.
How you gonna be Jamaican and you ain't run for Jamaica? I just want to know. You didn't ever think about it, consider?
No, I did. So, my history, my story is
bad, Sonya.
And I consider I'm a part of that, right? I'm a Jamaican. I have that. I'm a part of that legacy too.
Yes.
But growing up, so I moved from Jamaica when I was 12 and migrated to the States. I went to South Florida. And I'll never forget my first experience to be a part of one of the teams, Team USA or Team Jamaica, was when I was 16. So I was dominating track, and this woman comes up to me and she says, you should join the team. There's the World Juniors coming up this year. I didn't know about it, didn't know anything about it. I was like, of course I want to go. I want to be a part of that. So I go down to sign up, and she's like, she needs my passport. So I'm like, oh, Mom, just, give her the passport. She's like, you ain't got no American passport. I said, what? Why they ain't got no American passport? She's like, nah, girl, you're Jamaican. So of course I knew I'm Jamaican, but I was like, no, I want to be on the, because I've been in the U.S. now for 4 years, 12 to 16. Like all of my friends are American. I don't remember.
Tell me.
Yeah, so I'm like, I want to be on a team with them. So ironically, when I made my choice to run for Team USA, it wasn't even about like, and then the backlash, Lord. I was like, oh my God. But by this time, of course, I'm a part of Team USA. I love my teammates. I love, all of the access I had in America. Like, obviously, I'm living here permanently, working with the coaches here. So I felt like, like I was benefiting from the American resources. And I felt like it was, my duty to kind of give back to the country. So I didn't realize it was going to cause so much drama at the time. I was only 16 when it happened at first. But I still felt like it was the best decision for me. And I have used every opportunity and every resource that I can to give back to Jamaica. I started a foundation there in 2007. We helped over 700 kids learn to read on their grade level. USAID, an organization here, gave us $30,000 to grow that program. I take the girls to Jamaica on Housewives. I did an iFit program. So everything that I've been able to do, I've never forgotten where I come from. And I have a lot of love for Jamaica. And I in every way, I feel like I represent both countries. But, it started off like when I was younger, and I just, stayed with
it.
Yeah.
All right. I was just a little curious.
Yes.
A little curious. Y'all, was this good or was this good?
Are we done already? How long? It's been 30 days.
You
You having fun.
questions, but we'll save that for part 2. We'll
Okay.
save that for part 2.
All right.
But I hope y'all have enjoyed this conversation. It was good. It was juicy, but it was full of so many gems. Now, for those of y'all who are trying to make the money, you like, girl, I want the honey, but I need to make the money. One of the questions that I get asked all the time is, what business should I start? I need a new stream of income. What should I do? So I created a super quick, super free quiz for you to figure out what side hustle you should start. All you got to do is click the link in my Instagram bio at Coriel to take that quiz right now so you can turn your skills into a new stream. Make sure you follow, subscribe, comment, like, and share with a friend. And if you have not caught up to all 15 episodes of Girl Stop Playing, girl, stop playing. Me no come for you. Give me some. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. This channel is all about encouraging you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. And comment below and let me know what you want to see on the next video. Peace out.